Greetings, I'm Curt Fonger. Thanks for watching. Today, we're lucky to have a very special guest, John Tasillo, Chief Economist for Florida Realtors and an author as well. Plus, we'll be taking a look behind the gates of area communities and more. So let's get started right now. In the world of country club communities, Mirasol generated instant respect. Hardly a decade old, Mirasol already ranks highly nationally. Still, you have to change with the times. I talked to General Manager Matt Lambert. Matt, what's the current state of Mirasol?
The Country Club of Mirasol is a vibrant community in Palm Beach Gardens made up of 1,170 homes of retirees, young families, and young professionals.
For people who aren't familiar with the community, how about a little bit of history?
The Country Club Mirasol opened in 2003. It was developed by a world-renowned developer, Taylor Woodrow. It created a great property, 2 outstanding golf courses. We were the home of the Honda Classic from 2003 to 2006, and it's made up of homes that range from $500,000 up to $4 million.
As the property matures, what are the challenges that Mirasol faces?
Our biggest challenge now is the developer built us a beautiful clubhouse, and we are in the process of looking at a strategic master plan to update our facilities.
And when people come in, what are they looking for?
You know, there's great competition of country club communities in South Florida, and I think what separates Mirasol from the others is our diverse membership, and we have a sophisticated yet relaxed atmosphere.
And always new programs to entice and keep members.
That's our biggest challenge. As the country club member is changing every year, we try to keep up with the trends and make sure that we're always offering them something spectacular.
Tell me about the trends.
You know, I think the biggest trend that we've seen in the country clubs is the increase in casual dining and more family-centric activities. Also, the big demand for spa and fitness.
And you're seeking to meet those demands.
Absolutely. 2 years ago, we invested about $2 million and we built a beautiful sports complex for our young families, which has a synthetic turf athletic field, a recreational building for the kids, a playground, a basketball court, and it's been just a dynamite facility for us.
And that's the latest from Mirasol Country Club from the guy who should know, Matt Lambert, the general manager. Pleased to have John Tasillo with us today, Chief Economist for Florida Realtors. John, everybody wants to know what's happening in 2015.
Well, I think, Curt, we start by what happened in 2014. I mean, 2014 was a marvelous year. I mean, for real estate in Florida, we saw all the statistics going in the right direction. More importantly, the kind of rapid recovery we came through in 12 and 13 settled down, and the market is in a sustainable niche right now. Sales are going up, prices are going up, but they're not going up by so much we have to be worried about it. Inventory is a little thin, but still roughly in the balance mode. So 2014 was actually a really good year for real estate in Florida. Now 2015 is shaping up to be an even better year. You know, it's kind of, I'm always uncomfortable saying that because, you know, you come from a realtor organization and
you're
things are great, it's a great time to buy a house. And I don't necessarily like it, but I really mean this because the influences that are going to affect Florida from the outside are all doing very, very well. We'll see strong GDP growth, inflation will be down, interest rates will remain low. We're going to get a break on oil prices through most of the year. So the environment, the national economy environment, is going to be very good for Florida. The stock market's up, and when the stock market's up, people look south. When the portfolios go south, they look north. But when the portfolios go north, they look south. So we're getting a lot of people coming into Florida now looking for homes. So all these things are shaping up to be really a good environment. And then you've got some wild cards thrown in there, like the expansion of the Panama Canal, which is going to have a tremendously positive impact on trade. Absolutely. I mean, Tampa, Miami, Jacksonville, you're going to see the port cities really expand. And that's going to be good for the Florida economy. So when you put all that together, we're looking for a very, very strong year for job growth in Florida, for real estate growth in Florida, both in terms of sales and prices. We're looking for interest rates to remain low. We're looking for population to increase. And generally, it's going to be a very positive year for Florida, both for the economy and the housing market.
John, when you talk about the market recovering, you're talking about housing prices going up.
I'm talking about housing prices. Yeah, I mean, as far as the world is concerned, we've got, well, measured inflation is very low.
Right.
People who go to the supermarket don't think that way because food prices have been up rather dramatically. There's a drought in California, there's all sorts of things going on. So food prices have been up. But on the other side, gasoline prices are down. So the cost of living for the average household is moderating now.
It's been a big tax cut in effect with the lower
That's
gasoline prices.
That's precisely what it's been. You know, it's very funny, Curt, because normally when someone goes to buy a house, they look at two things. What's the cost of the house? What's it going to cost me to get to my job? Okay? And they balance those two things. Sometimes you say, well, I really don't want to pay a lot of commuting costs in both time and money. So what I'm going to do is buy a smaller house closer to my job. Some people say, I really want as much house as I can get, and I don't care how long it takes me to commute. Well, what happens when gas prices go down is that folks now are able to buy larger houses a little bit more remote from employment centers because the commuting costs have gone down.
Sprawl, you're talking
Sprawl.
about. Okay.
So one of the things that's going to happen now is we're going to see people interested in houses that are a little bit farther from the employment centers in the state because then the commuting costs are not as burdensome. And this is another aspect of falling gasoline prices that will affect the real estate market.
And that will mean more construction jobs too, as people
Absolutely.
find it cheaper to
Absolutely.
move away and buy more.
Sure, because folks are going to be attracted to relatively lower priced housing, and in many, many cases in this state, that means new construction. So I think we'll see, the interesting thing is the construction industry has shown the greatest growth of employment since 2011 of any major industry in the state, right? But it also fell the farthest when everything collapsed in 2007, 8, and 9. But construction activity is up, construction jobs are up, and of course those workers have to live somewhere too. So I mean, we're talking about more housing demand being generated by more jobs, and in turn, new houses being created.
It's all good. John Tasillo, Chief Economist, Florida Realtors, thanks for being here.
Thank you, Curt.
Don't go away. We'll be right back.
Closed captioning is brought to you by the Kravis Center for the Performing Arts.
At Ibis Golf and Country Club, you can have it all while living in the heart of a lush oasis. Here you'll discover a vibrant lifestyle, including an all-new sports village, fitness center, and luxurious spa. We're the only community in the world to boast 3 Nicholas family-designed golf courses. But what really sets us apart are our members.
Ibis, the place everyone wants to come home to.
Landscaping starts small, but it gets big, and every homeowner knows trimming is a big task. And that's why I'm talking to Joe Floyd at Impact Landscaping, and you plan for trimming.
Yes, it's very important to have the guys properly trained in how to trim stuff and not always trimming to the same old cut and cutting constantly every month to the same cut. Hacking, exactly. It's better to let them, let certain things grow out. Yes, you do want to get tiers or different elevations with plant material, and if it's planted properly and used the way it should be, you'll get that naturally, but you do need to kind of trim so it does get a natural form to it and it fills in. So it's very important that you know how to trim and you do let certain things grow out and not always cut it back to the old cut. You let it fill in.
For instance, we're here at Castellina and we're here at some new planting. Tell me about how you're going to allow this to fill in.
Well, what we do is we'll let this material slowly grow out and we'll cut it back to points, and then these bushes right here, and we'll trim them back at certain times, and then slowly we'll let them eventually grow together and create a mass bed so that you don't see in between the plants. And what that helps do is also it eliminates your weeds, because the weeds don't get the sunlight to grow, so your beds become full and thick, and then the weeds don't come through, and the plants have been allowed to grow naturally, more or less.
But the variegated Schefflera will be allowed to grow a little higher.
A little higher, a little taller, but you just, you let it fill in, and you don't overcut it, and you don't keep everything trimmed at the same level.
So be kind when you're trimming and let your plants have their natural shape. Right, Joe?
That's right. And let them take on the natural shape and just cut the long runners and let them fill in and let them grow the way they're supposed to grow naturally.
And that's how you do it. I can't speak for all Americans, but I don't think the average American would consider this country to be a tax haven. Robert Keats does think it's a tax haven for Canadians. You are the president and founder of Keats Connolly, Enriching Your Cross-Border Lifestyle, and you're the author of A Canadian's Best Tax Haven, the U.S., and the subtitle is Take Your Money and Drive. Why not go to some island someplace?
It's very simple. The islands usually don't work for most families. It just doesn't fit their lifestyle. It doesn't fit everything. And the big thing is that they don't get the tax savings that they were promised, whereas the U.S. is treaty protected. Between Canada and the U.S., we have a very good long-standing treaty that protects the investors, so they get great tax reductions just under the treaty, which is tremendous tax savings for Canadians. Like, for example, Canadians can come to the U.S. and on their retirement accounts, whether it's a pension they get from their employer or the retirement accounts that they save, retirement savings accounts.
Like a 401k would be in this country.
Yeah, or equivalent IRAs. And they can save from 50% tax in Canada, like for example, the province of Ontario, the maximum tax rate is now 50%, and it's that way in most provinces, but the tax rate drops from 50% down to 15%, and that's treaty protected. So that's a tremendous drop in taxes for anybody on any kind of retirement account. And then they also have great tax reductions on, for example, dividends. If they come to the U.S. and they have Canadian dividends, their tax rate drops to 15%, like 15% under the treaty. If they go to the offshore, the tax rate is actually higher, 25%. And the normal tax rate, and depending on which province you're in, is anywhere between 30 and 40% in Canada, so they can cut their tax on their investment income less than half.
Now, in the book, you say the Canadian equivalent of Social Security also has a big tax advantage there in this country.
Yes, old age security, which in Canada it takes 40 years to qualify for old age security in Canada. And the thing is, if you're successful in your retirement and your income is over $70,000 roughly a year, that you get 100% of that old age security clawed back.
You're taxed 100%.
Tax rate is 100%. But under the Canada-U.S. treaty, if you come to the U.S., the tax rate in Canada is 0. Canada doesn't take any of it, so you get 100% of your pension. And it's just ironic that you spend 40 years in Canada qualifying for it, and you got to leave the country to get it all. And the treaty protects you in that.
Now, in the few seconds we have left, you have to become a resident of this country to get these tax benefits.
Yes, you have to become a non-resident of Canada, which means you have to be a legal resident of the U.S. to become a non-resident of Canada. That's very simple. There's a lot of options there to do that.
Okay. Well, maybe it's true. A Canadian's best tax haven, the U.S. You can find out more about it on our website, southfloridahomesandlifestyles.com. Robert Keats of Keats Connolly, Enriching Your Cross-Border Lifestyle. Thanks for being here today.
You're welcome, Curt.
More to come. Please stick around.
southfloridahomesandlifestyles.com, a great way to search and find area communities based on lifestyles, amenities, and more. Log on today.
We're in a lovely home here at Ibis Golf and Country Club with a kitchen that is all torn up. Here's the guy who did it, Aaron Chandler of Chandler Construction. What's going on here, Aaron?
Well, Curt, we are here today on an actual kitchen remodeling project in the middle. When we came into this project, the kitchen was kind of a white elephant in the home. The cabinets were orange, the countertops were very dark. The homeowner wanted to lighten it and create more of an airy feel. So when we do that, we have three options for kitchen cabinetry and remodeling kitchens. Option one is to repurpose the existing kitchen, taking the doors and the boxes and painting them to a new lighter color or staining them to darken them up.
Freshening the whole kitchen as is and putting in a whole new appliance set.
Yep, new appliances. We kept the actual doors to the kitchen because they were in pretty good shape, as well as the boxes. We didn't want to change the configuration of the kitchen, so we decided a fresh coat of paint, some new granite, new backsplash tile, and new appliances would do the trick here.
That's option one. Now what would be option two?
Option two is if the boxes were in good shape and we didn't like the door style. Maybe the door style was a little too traditional or not modern enough. So what we'd do then is take off the doors, purchase new doors, and install them on the old boxes that we once had. And then at that point we could change the color, paint it or stain to any color under the sun.
And that really modernizes the kitchen look.
That would change the whole feel, because that would allow us then to change our crown moldings, our under cabinet light rail moldings, do some really cool stuff with lighting as well.
And option three is blow it all up.
Gut the place and start from new. So it gives you three good options, and especially it saves you a good amount of money too when you decide to keep the boxes and the general floor plan, because then we're not getting into changing out flooring and the whole atmosphere of the kitchen.
And of course you're an expert in this because you see kitchen after kitchen after kitchen and you can give good advice.
Absolutely, yes. What we do is we take a look at the decor in the home and kind of go from there and decide if we want to lighten it, darken it, if we like a more of a transitional style, more of a modern style, and a quick visit to the showroom, pick out some doors, some colors, some granite, and we're on our way.
Aaron Chandler, Chandler Construction, thanks. If you have a kitchen that's outdated, you have options.
You know this is a great time to buy a home because mortgage rates are at historically low levels. But is it a good time to refinance your home? Well, I have somebody that may have that answer for you. Janine Henriano, Group 1 Mortgage. Is this a good time to refinance your home?
It could be, Kurt. Rates are, lower. We just had a nice little dip. And we've also had improvements on FHA loans in the monthly mortgage insurance rate. So for a lot of people, they can, save a couple $100s a month by refinancing right now.
Is there a rule of thumb of when it's a good time to refinance your mortgage?
Normally I like to see about a point improvement in the note rate. That said, with the combination of maybe a half-point movement in the note rate and a half-point improvement in the mortgage insurance rate, it may make sense for a lot of homeowners to refinance now.
And that's the calculation that you can do.
Absolutely. I can calculate their savings and calculate a break-even point on how many months it will take them to cover their closing costs and start to really accumulate the monthly savings.
Mm-hmm. Let's say a viewer is watching right now and then watches the interest rates on the internet and calls you and says, I need a refinance mortgage today. Janine, today.
I wish the market were that incredibly steady and stable. Mm-hmm. What would be better for the homeowner to do is to really establish a reasonable target rate, talk to their licensed mortgage professional,
such as you,
such as myself or one of my colleagues at Group 1 Mortgage, and get their paperwork in order, get their application in place so that if the rate they desire does show up and it's short-lived, we're in a position to lock that rate in for them. Oftentimes with market fluctuations, that rate may be here for you today, but not tomorrow.
But it can't happen at all unless you have the paperwork in first.
Correct.
And then how long can you lock in a rate?
It depends, Kurt. We can do 15-day locks, we can do 30-day locks, 45-day, 60-day locks. But remember, time is money. So you may be able to get, let's just say easy numbers, a rate of 4% on a 15-day lock. But if you need a 60-day lock, that might be 4 1/4. So really, for the homeowner to have their ducks in a row and have their paperwork in place, it really enables the loan officer to be on top of the market for them.
And it all starts with the paperwork first.
Absolutely.
Janine Henry on Group 1 Mortgage. Thanks for being here talking about refinancing.
It's my pleasure, Curt.
This is the warehouse of two men and a truck. I'm talking with Joel Dowley and, of course, Truckee, and we're talking about factors that you need to consider when picking a mover.
Well, there are a number of very important factors. The reputation of the moving company that you're considering is very important. Of course, cost is always very important. Just a minute.
This must be a short consultation in this interview. Yes?
Well, Truckee's reminding me that you should be real.
Okay.
Now, I know Truckee is a mascot, and he's not a real truck.
An awesome mascot.
But Truckee reminds us that to be real when you're selecting a mover. Pick a real mover. Get a mover who is licensed. Get a mover that has a real location in your neighborhood, in your area. Find someone that has a location in Palm Beach County or the Treasure Coast that you can go to. I recommend sometimes that you even call and ask if you can come visit your mover prior to you making your selection.
Because if you come in contact with a middleman, you may have some problems down the line.
You can go online and get a broker that's going to set up a move, and it may sound pretty good, but you've got, like you said, the middleman involved, and much more likely that there are going to be problems when it comes time to doing the move. And you want to make sure that the mover that you're using is nearby, so that if there's a problem after the move, you know who you can talk to and where you can go to get that resolved.
And you can look them right in the eye.
Very important.
And we're here in a real warehouse with Joel Dowley and a real awesome mascot, Truckee. And you can find out more on our website, southfloridahomesandlifestyles.com. Joel Dowley, thank you.
Thank you, Curt.
This is John Juritzma. He's the Director of Sales and Marketing here at Ibis Golf and Country Club. John, I've been here dozens of times, but this is new and it really surprised me.
Oh, thanks, Curt. What you see behind us is a brand new sports village. About a year and a half ago, the Ibis members voted on a $33 million construction project to our amenities, to improve our amenities. And what we're doing here, what we opened about 4 months ago, is our brand new sports village that consists of a 2-story, 15,000 square foot fitness center, a poolside bistro, a new dining area. We have a brand new spa, a new aquatic center with a lap pool, a kids splash zone, and the members just love it.
And a major expansion of your clubhouse.
Yeah, we're actually adding 23,000 square feet to our current 50,000 square foot clubhouse. So it's we're gutting it, we're enhancing it and enlarging it and adding a brand new kind of casual sports pub with a 25,000 square foot terrace, a brand new ballroom, new grill dining, fine dining, and room for our cultural spaces.
That's a lot. Tell me about the history of Ibis and how sales are going.
Well, sales are going great. You know, we've been in the area for a long time, but the whole country club model is changing, you know, and we have a lot more younger members joining these days, and they want these types of amenities, you know. It's no longer golf driven, and those that want to play sports like golf and tennis, they want to play longer. So you need to add things like Pilates and spinning and yoga.
So you're always seeking to add new programs here at Ibis?
Always, and we have about 20 clubs within the club. We have the Ibis Cultural Association that has a photography club, the volunteers, the cooking club, the performing arts. They do off-campus events, so there's always something to do here at Ibis.
Ibis Golf and Country Club, you've got nature, you've got tennis, you've got this, and of course you've got golf, always something to do. As a realtor, I know that most of us think of real estate as the place where we live, but many people are making money as real estate investors. And here's a man who should know, Robert Garrison. He's a realtor and a financial advisor. Robert, how is the real estate investment market these days?
Well, it's changed dramatically since 2007 when we started to have the short sales and the foreclosures. The banks had to sort through how they were going to handle a massive amount of short sales and foreclosures, and over a period of time they were started to sell them one at a time, Then the major hedge funds came in with millions of dollars and started buying thousands of units at a time, which forced the average person out of the market. But today, the hedge funds are pretty much finished buying up the big blocks, and what's left are probably properties in your neighborhood that you've seen go vacant, you've seen the bank take them over, you know the property. You probably could buy that property if it's still in the hands of a local bank.
And make no mistake, this is an active investment, not just like buying a share of stock where you just sit back and hold it. This is something you're going to actually work on.
Well, this is something first of all, you have to buy the property. Most of the time, the property is going to need significant upgrading, updating, and then you're going to typically look for a renter for the property. You can also put the property in a self-directed IRA, which will give you some tax benefits for holding the property over a period of time, and when you sell it, you can also shield the profit that you hopefully will make on selling the property in your IRA account. So for a lot of people right now who I've sold to individual properties, this is what they're doing. They're paying cash if they have it, or they're financing the property if they're going to live in the property, or if it's a multifamily, as long as they're going to live in one of the units.
So buying a duplex or a fourplex, you'd move into one unit and then rent out the others.
Exactly. And that rent, as long as you're doing it in either in your 401k or in your IRA, you can shelter the income and shelter the profit on the eventual sale.
Now, when you're dealing with a short sale or a foreclosure, it's good to have somebody to navigate the whole process for you, such as a realtor.
Well, it takes a long time to handle a short sale today. The average I'm finding in doing short sales is 4 to 6 months. From the time we submit the contract, through the appraisal, through the inspection, and to a closing.
So if someone is renting and say, I have to be out of my rental apartment in the next 2 months,
no.
Going through a short sale or a foreclosure process, probably not your best.
It would not be for them.
Robert Garrison, thank you for your financial advice, and as always.
Thank you, Curt.
There you are. We certainly covered a lot of ground today, so we made sure to have all the details and video available to you online as well. It's all there, plus great community search tools, market data reports, expert tips, cross-border information, and the list goes on. All you have to do is log on to our website, southfloridahomesandlifestyles.com. Oh, and be sure to check out our YouTube channel too. There you are. Thanks for watching. I'm Curt Fonger. Have a good week.